Wastewater treatment. Wastewater is any water that is used. Sewage is the most important wastewater that need to be treated. Sewage water may contain wash waters, human excreta, or any kind of industrial waste to some extent. Composition is 99.5% water and 0.1 to 0.5% organic material or inorganic material, depending on the type of waste generated. Wastewater treatment is of basically two types: sewage water treatment and industrial wastewater treatment. Sewage wastewater treatment is done by the municipal corporations, while the industrial wastewater treatment is carried out by the industries producing the particular waste. Now there are many constituents of water, rather wastewater, which are present and they need to be removed seriously. So let's see what are the constituents which are present in wastewater. The first constituent is suspended solid. The reason that it needs to be removed is because that if it is present in high concentration or high amounts, microorganisms might develop and they'll start utilizing oxygen which is present in water, which may develop into anaerobic conditions, and septic conditions might occur, and sometimes gas production by such organisms such as hydrogen sulfide and methane, they may produce a reducing environment. Other than that, if suspended solids are not decomposed or removed, they may settle in large deposits forming sludge. Next is the biodegradable organics such as proteins, carbohydrates and fats. If they are present or if they are not decomposed, the anaerobic conditions might develop in water. Pathogens are important factor that need to be removed from the wastewater because they may infect the drinking water if it gets in contact with the sewage. Example of certain pathogens are Vibrio cholerae, protozoans like Giardia and Acanthamoeba and Entamoeba, Salmonella enteritidis, etc. Nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These nutrients, if they are present in water, they may lead to algal bloom, and when algal bloom occurs, the amount of oxygen levels and sunlight levels in water decreases, due to which fishes and other aquatic animals might die. And if this happens, the process of eutrophication might occur, which generally occurs in lakes. Eutrophication is basically disturbance in food chain or food web due to killing or decrease in size of certain trophic level. Then next is the priority pollutants. These are enlisted by the EPA. EPA is Environment Protection Agency of the US. Examples of priority pollutants are DDT, herbicides, pesticides and fertilizers. These priority pollutants need to be removed from water because they are suspected to be having carcinogenic and mutagenic properties. They are categorized on the basis of acute toxicity, mutagenicity and their carcinogenic nature. Next, coming on to refractory organics such as surfactants, agricultural pesticides and phenols, which may be present in the water as they are not able to be destroyed by conventional treatment methods, so we need to remove them during wastewater treatment. Heavy metals might also be present in certain waters which are very highly toxic and they cause neurological disorders if they are present in high amounts. The example of such is Minamata disease in Japan. Minamata diseases cause motor nerve damage which occurred by consumption of fish which might have consumed mercury. Next is the dissolved organic calcium sodium sulfates. Since they are dissolvable, so it's very necessary to remove them. Where biological oxygen demand is basically the amount of oxygen that is required by the organisms to oxidize entire organic matter present in a particular amount of water. It shows the total amount of organic substances present in that sample of water or water. Higher the BOD value, higher is the amount of organic matter. Way of finding BOD is basically we use dissolved oxygen as a way of finding the BOD in water. We find the values of dissolved oxygen on the initial day, which is day 1, and on different days such as day 3 or day 5, depending on the type of water or from where the water has been obtained. So biological oxygen demand is found out by subtracting the values of dissolved oxygen obtained on the regular intervals of days from the one that we obtained on initial day, that is day 1. So for tropical areas, we take the dissolved oxygen values and BOD on the 3rd day because the temperature is high in those areas and organisms have fast metabolism, due to which they work fast. And for temperate areas, we take it on the 5th day because the temperature is less, cold temperatures are there, so metabolism of microorganism is low, so we give them more time. Then is chemical oxygen demand. It is basically the oxygen used by chemicals to oxidize entire organic matter. For this purpose, potassium permanganate is used because it is a strong oxidant. Generally, it has been seen that chemical oxygen demand values is greater than BOD values. Coming on to sewage treatment, the steps involved, it is basically carried out in 4 particular stages. The primary stage involves physical methods of treatment. Secondary stage is also known as biological treatment, and it involves all the biological methods for treating wastewater. Tertiary treatment is chemical treatment, and in this case we obtain tertiary treated water which we use in cities. Then the final stage of treatment, in the final stage of treatment, tertiary treated water is finally treated to put into rivers. Other than these 4 stages, there is one stage which is called solid processing, which is basically for the sludge treatment that is formed during the primary and secondary treatment. Coming on to the treatment process of sewage wastewater. Primary treatment. Primary treatment is also called physical treatment or settled sewage treatment. It involves the method which uses physical techniques for the removal of different matter that may be present in water. The different steps of physical treatment include, the first one is screening. In screening, devices which are called screens are used to remove the solids which may be present in water. Screen are basically the device which contain openings of some uniform size, and these openings retain the solids that may be present in wastewater. The purpose of screens are like they increase the overall efficiency of the treatment process. They stop the contamination of water from those solid processes, solid waste. And also सबसे important thing is that since maximum solid is retained from these screens, further equipment damage is protected from happening. There are 3 types of screen which are basically used. The first is the coarse screen. The mesh size of coarse screen is 66 to 150 millimeter. Advantage is that it can be cleaned mechanically. Then is the micro screen, 0.5 micrometer or more is the mesh size. And finally the fine screen with the mesh size of less than 6 millimeter, and they are generally formed using wire cloth or perforated plates. The coarse screen may either be present in rods or parallel bars. Next step which is there is comminution. This is for particulate matter. This is also called macerators. These crush the solid material. In this step, the grinding of material which has been obtained from the screen Basically, the material that got retained in the screen is ground, and then it is passed from the screen again. Then the next is flow equalization. We feed the water that needs to be treated at an equal flow at a proper rate. Because the flow rate of incoming effluent need to be equal. This is done by keeping a water in a particular area, by storing the extra water in particular area, and from there it's sent to particular place in a particular flow rate. The next is mixing and flocculation. In mixing and flocculation process, we mix the organic matter thoroughly so that it is distributed uniformly. Mixing leads to formation of flocks of organic matter which sediment due to gravity. Certain chemicals are added so that flocculation occurs at an increasing rate and there is easy precipitation. The final one is the sedimentation. In sedimentation, the grit or any other settleable solid which may be present in our wastewater are settled in the sedimentation tanks due to gravity, as well as at this point, at the sedimentation step, biological activity starts and water is left undisturbed in the tank during this process. Then second stage of sewage wastewater treatment is secondary treatment. In this, the digestion of dissolved or suspended organic matter is done, and this is also called biological treatment. The basis of biological treatment is under aerobic condition is organic matter reacts with oxygen and nutrients present in the presence of microorganism to produce biomass, carbohydrate and water. There are two methods on the basis of oxygen. Number one is aerobic treatment and second is anaerobic treatment. And again there are two methods on the basis of type of growth which may be present. Number one, fixed film, which is attached growth, and second is suspended film, which is suspended growth. If a high level of organic matter is present, the conditions are changed to anaerobic for some time, and during anaerobic treatment what happens is generally methane is liberated during anaerobic treatment and other gases are also released. In anaerobic treatment, organic material is degraded in 3 steps, which is fermentation, acidogenic reaction and methanogenesis. In fermentation, all organic matter is converted to carbohydrate and organic acids in the absence of air, basically in the absence of oxygen. And the microorganisms which are involved are bacteroids, Clostridium and Peptidostreptococcus. Organic acid which are obtained are succinate, butyrate, propionate, lactate, acetate, ethanol, H2CO2. Then the second step, acetogenic reaction. For acetogenic reaction, the organic acids which were obtained in the fermentation process are used as substrate. The microorganisms involved in acetogenic reaction are Syntrophomonas, Syntrophobacter and Acetobacteria. These are all acetogenic bacteria, and the organic acids are converted to acetic acid, carbon dioxide and hydrogen in the process of acetogenic reaction using these acetogenic bacteria. Then after acetogenic reaction, methanogenesis occurs. In methanogenesis we involve methanogenic bacteria such as Methanobacterium. In this process, biogas production occurs. The acetate or acetic acid we obtain in the previous step is converted into methane and carbon dioxide. Consortium of bacteria is required in case of anaerobic treatment. As we can see, there's a very large amount of mixture of bacteria we require in all the three steps of anaerobic treatment. The bacteria are bacteroids, Clostridium, Peptidostreptococcus in case of fermentation, Centrophomonas, Centrophobacter and Acetobacteria in case for acetogenic reaction, and methanogenic bacteria such as Methanobacterium for the process of methanogenesis. Next, we come on to aerobic digestion in case of secondary treatment. Aerobic digestion is easier when we compare it to anaerobic treatment, and it is done in a single step. Basically, it is done in a single step. An anaerobic one requires multiple steps. So there are three types of aerobic digestion. So activated sludge system, in this dispersed growth occurs. It removes 75 to 95% of BOD. It is simpler, and up to 90% of BOD removal occurs, and suspended mode of growth is there. It is not dispersed growth. So the setup is like effluent or sewage enters from this region, and it enters into the aeration tank, in which pressurized air purged into tank from the below tank. From here, pressurized air is carried and which is entered into this aeration tank. And the type of growth which occurs here is suspended growth, and the sewage or effluent is kept here for 4 to 8 hours, and after 4 to 8 hours it moves into the settling tank. In settling tank, the effluent is kept undisturbed, and flocculation of particles occur in the settling tank. Flocculated particles settle down. From here, the sludge that is obtained is passed on to the sludge digester for solids processing, and the supernatant or effluent is further carried for tertiary treatment. This is first type of anaerobic digestion which may occur. Usually a part of activated sludge is added to the effluent as an inoculum. Why is it added to the inoculum? It's because it is rich in fast multiplying and metabolizing microorganisms. The next type is trickling filter system. Trickling filter system consists of cylindrical structures which may have gravel or rock filled in them to form bed. Like in this image, it is a cylindrical structure. These are the beds of rock, sand or gravel, and they keep on rotating, and they sprinkle these rotating pipes or tubes. They sprinkle sewage water onto this bed of gravel, and it gets filtered. The sewage water gets filtered, and the rest of it is removed for further treatment. Okay, sewage water enters from here, it is sprinkled from over the tubes onto the gravel bed, and the sludge gets collected in the lower region so that it can go into the solids processing step, and the further effluent is carried on forward for tertiary treatment. Biofilms on these rocks or gravel beds, biofilm might get produced or formed. Biofilms are also called zooglial films. They form on the rocks inside the tanks within a few weeks, and they become ready for wastewater treatment. They absorb organic matter from wastewaters to degrade it. Okay, the biofilm formed on these gravel beds degrade the organic matter by absorbing them from organic matter. They remove 80 to 85% of BOD. This kind of trickling filter system in aerated kind of digestion removes up to 85% of biological oxygen demand. Then next is the rotating disc method. In rotating disc method, the effluent enters into chamber present, and these discs are present inside the chamber. The discs are attached to a shaft and they rotate. The discs have biofilms on them and there is spaces in between the disc. So while they are rotating, the discs rotate continuously and they are half submerged in our effluent. The rotation of the discs provide aeration, and on these discs जो biofilm it is attached, it collects the organic matter from the effluent and degrades it, and the further effluent which is remaining after the biofilm removes the organic matter, absorbs the organic matter, it is carried out further. Next is the biological tower. Biological tower is the modification of trickling filter. Just like this, it is a modified trickling filter. The difference is that it has a higher length than the trickling filter, so that more removal occurs in this process because water takes longer time to filter through the entire length of the biological tower. In rural areas, generally oxidation ponds are there for treatment. Algal growth is promoted, which provides oxygen to microorganisms in water. If we talk about anaerobic filters, UASCB, upflow anaerobic sludge blanket reactor is there. Filter is sludge granules. Basically sludge granules are the filter. They have microorganisms which combine with water and they create double advantage. The next type of anaerobic filter is AUF, which is anaerobic upflow filter. Plastic bottles or saucers are kept onto which microorganisms absorb, forming biofilm, and in these both cases no aeration is required. Gas liquid separator is put, which helps in separation of methane from the liquid part. Temperature shouldn't rise too high, otherwise organisms die, which stops the metabolism. Then we come to the third stage of our wastewater treatment, which is tertiary treatment. It is the advanced treatment. Substances which are not removed in primary or secondary treatment, they are removed in this tertiary treatment. The purpose of this tertiary treatment is the removal of leftover BOD, nitrogen and phosphorus. The phosphorus removal is done by precipitating it using lime, alum or ferric chloride, and the removal of nitrogen is carried out by the biological nitrification and denitrification processes. The removal of pesticides and herbicides etc. which may be present in the waters coming from the secondary treatment is by activated charcoal method, which absorbs chemical particles, and they may also use fine sand so that it gets absorbed. Reverse osmosis, carbon adsorption, ion exchange methods are also used in tertiary treatment of water. And for the final treatment, oxygenation is required before we dispose of the water into rivers. Disinfection is also required before we send the water into the rivers, so that remaining microorganisms can be removed. For disinfection, we use UV treatment or ozonization, and the simplest method of disinfection is chlorination, then dechlorination, and after dechlorination we dispose of the water to rivers and water bodies.